First, I am sure you're aware, if you've been listening certainly over the last 48 hours, that our radio family, we're in shock, and we continue to be absolutely floored by the news that we heard at the weekend, the death of our friend Lisa Shaw, a brilliant broadcaster, a keen sense of humour. Of course, she helped hundreds of you tell your stories over the years on the radio, and you've been telling us how much that meant to you, and it's been wonderful. It really has, just to be listening to your tributes. It's absolutely been helping us get through the last couple of days. Martin Bailey was Lisa's guest on International Men's Day in November 2019, and from their very first meeting, she helped him to tell a story that changed not only his life, but many other people when it actually aired. Just take a listen.
Probably around 3 years ago now, I was involved in organising an event called Edu Footy Aid, which was where teachers from all over the country came together to play in a charity football match with the aim of raising awareness of mental health issues and supporting sort of wellbeing in schools. So it was on the back of that event that I met Lisa for the very first time when I came into Radio Newcastle, and she interviewed me to find out a little bit more. That was the first time I met Lisa, around about 3 years ago.
And the idea behind the football game was something really close to your heart.
It was, yeah, sort of my own background in education and in life. I've suffered at times sort of with mental health issues. Sadly, came quite close to take my own life just over a decade ago. So it was certainly something that I was very keen to be involved in, to promote and to get the message out there. To enable people to speak out, to know that you're not alone, that there's other people going through such feelings and such emotions.
And when you come into a radio station, I think we sometimes forget that it can be quite daunting. You're coming in, and not only are you coming into a strange environment, you're coming into an environment where you're sharing something really, really personal.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. It is a real testament to Lisa that, because I was coming into somewhere where Lisa was a complete stranger, other than sort of hearing her voice on the radio. It didn't feel like I was being interviewed. It just felt like a chat with a friend, and I think that was Lisa's strength. That she did put everyone sort of instantly at ease. There was an instant trust sort of created with Lisa. She was such a lovely person, and I feel so honoured that I had the opportunity to share in that with Lisa. Because then about a year after that, in November 2019, when it was International Men's Day, Lisa arranged for myself and another gentleman who I think had been on a show before, called Michael, to come into Radio Newcastle and really just have a conversation, just to talk as two people about mental health. And Michael and I were complete strangers to each other when we came into the studio that day, and we ended up just chatting openly, sharing sort of our past experiences for the benefit of the listeners. And we really didn't know what was going to happen that day. Neither did Lisa, anyone at Radio Newcastle. And it ended up being that on International Men's Day, that interview was published in full for, just shy of an hour. I think Lisa even had to sort of take part of our show that day. She's seen this as something that everyone in the North East should hear, that this was a very, very powerful thing to just have, two grown men, actually just sitting down like what you might do in a pub, a coffee shop, a place of work, whatever it might be, and actually bearing their soul, sharing their experiences, talking about things that have affected them in life, but also how they've sort of made steps in the right direction and how life's been able to turn around for them again. There was that instant trust there sort of from Lisa, not just the way she interviewed and the questions that she asked, but also feeling that you could sort of, believe that the interview was taking place for the right reasons, that somebody wasn't just trying to, get a story or a headline, or that there was going to be, sound bites taken out of context or whatever it might be. It was very much a two-way process throughout the whole thing, and, that trust sort of built up. And actually on the back of that interview, Lisa then got my head teacher to come in, and we did a second interview on the back of that, where it was like employer and employee just talking very openly about that process. Because again, I think that's one of the big stigmas around mental health, that people think, how might it affect my future job prospects? Is somebody going to, employ me? Can I dare sort of speak out to an employer about mental health issues in the way that you would about any other illness? So, I think that's a brilliant legacy of Lisa, that these interviews did take place. They're still, available online for people to listen to. And, I know I still get people all the time sort of talk to me about how much it empowered them. I know, certainly in the days afterwards, I got a lot of messages through social media, whatever, from people who were listening. And, one in particular really sticks in my head that, I think it was about 2:00 in the morning, maybe the evening after the first interview with myself and Michael went out, and somebody just sent me a direct message on Twitter just saying, I've been in a pretty dark place today. I'm in a pretty dark place now, but actually, I'm remembering your interview on Radio Newcastle this morning with Lisa, and you talking about how you turned your life around is just giving me the strength to maybe go in a different direction that evening. And I think for something like that to come from a complete stranger sort of shows just how powerful it is doing those type of radio interviews. And again, the legacy that will remain sort of from giving people a platform on Radio Newcastle to share their stories, both for the benefit of them, but particularly for the benefit of the listeners around the North East who could relate to those stories and realise that they're not alone.
After that, those conversations, the groundbreaking conversations with Michael, you were then invited back into the studios to take part in Lisa's weekly My Tunes feature. So how was that? Because it's an opportunity to delve into your psyche by the medium of songs.
It was a fabulous experience, and obviously something a little bit more light-hearted than what I'd been doing when I've been discussing sort of mental health issues with Lisa. And I've seen that other side to Lisa sort of too when I was choosing my guilty pleasures, which actually Katrina and the Waves, Britain's UK's last winning entry at Eurovision, and would love Shine a Light. And I think actually in this week of Eurovision, and sort of as we all remember Lisa, it would be lovely if I could have that as a dedication to Lisa, because I think sort of Lisa's love very much did shine a light sort of around the North East and beyond to so many people.
Well, because you are such a nice person, Martin, even though you're a big fan of Eurovision, well, that slide. And because we are celebrating Lisa, we'll play it on your behalf, just to celebrate Lisa.